The night sky above New Mexico erupted in a brilliant flash of azure light, momentarily turning darkness into day. Dr. Samantha Chen, lead astronomer at the Sunspot Solar Observatory, jolted upright in her chair, coffee mug clattering to the floor. Her eyes, wide with disbelief, locked onto the main monitor displaying real-time telescope data. "Holy Jenkins, are you seeing this?" She called out to her research assistant, voice trembling with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Jenkins, a lanky grad student with perpetually disheveled hair, scrambled to her side. Yeah, I'm seeing it, but I don't believe it. That can't be natural, can it?" Samantha's fingers flew across the keyboard, bringing up additional readouts and initiating a barrage of scans. "No, definitely not natural. The energy signature is off the charts and the trajectory, it's controlled. Jenkins, I think we're witnessing our first confirmed extraterrestrial visitation." As if to punctuate her statement, a second flash lit up the sky, followed by a thunderous boom that shook the observatory to its foundations. Samantha grabbed her jacket and car keys. "We need to get out there, now." The drive down the winding mountain road was tense, with Samantha's knuckles white on the steering wheel and Jenkins frantically making calls to local authorities and their colleagues at nearby facilities. As they neared the estimated landing site, they encountered a roadblock manned by state troopers. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but this area is off-limits," a stern-faced officer informed them as Samantha rolled down her window. She flashed her credentials. "Dr. Samantha Chen, Sunspot Solar Observatory. We tracked the object's descent. Our expertise could be crucial." The officer hesitated, then nodded curtly. "Follow me, but stay close." As they drove past the barricade, Samantha could see the glow of emergency vehicles in the distance, casting long shadows across the desert landscape. The air was thick with dust and an acrid smell she couldn't quite place, like ozone and burning metal. They parked at the edge of a makeshift command post, where various agencies were already setting up equipment and arguing over jurisdiction. Samantha and Jenkins made their way through the chaos, drawn inexorably toward the center of activity. And there it was. A sleek, silvery craft about the size of a small bus lay half-buried in the red New Mexican soil. Its surface was unmarred despite the impact, and a soft, pulsing light emanated from what appeared to be viewports along its side. "My God," Jenkins whispered, "it's really happening." Before anyone could stop her, Samantha approached the craft. As she drew near, a seam appeared in its smooth hull, widening into an aperture. A ramp extended, touching the ground with a soft hiss. The assembled crowd fell silent, weapons raised, breaths held in collective anticipation. A figure emerged from the shadows within the craft. Bipedal, roughly human in proportion, but unmistakably alien. Its skin shimmered with an iridescent quality, shifting colors like oil on water. Large, almond-shaped eyes blinked in the harsh floodlights. The alien raised its hands, four-fingered, with an opposable digit, in what Samantha recognized as a universal gesture of surrender. It spoke, its voice a melodious trill that seemed to bypass her ears and resonate directly in her mind. "Please, help, sanctuary." With those words, the alien swayed and collapsed onto the ramp. Samantha, acting on instinct, rushed forward to catch the fallen visitor. As she cradled the alien's surprisingly light form, she felt a surge of protectiveness washed over her. "It's okay," she murmured, unsure if the alien could understand. "You're safe now." The next few hours passed in a blur of medical examinations, debriefings, and frantic calls to Washington. Samantha insisted on staying with the alien, who had been moved to a hastily erected quarantine tent. She watched as doctors cautiously examined the unconscious visitor, marveling at its alien yet familiar anatomy. As dawn broke over the New Mexican desert, the alien stirred. Its eyes fluttered open, focusing on Samantha with an intensity that made her breath catch. "You helped me," the alien said, its mental voice clearer now. "Thank you. Samantha smiled, trying to project calm and reassurance. "You're welcome. I'm Dr. Samantha Chen. Can you tell us who you are and where you came from?" The alien sat up slowly, its movements graceful despite evident exhaustion. "I am Zara, last survivor of the Lumina. My world is no more. I have traveled far, seeking a place of refuge. Your planet, your people, you are our last hope." Samantha's mind reeled at the implications. Last hope? What do you mean? Zara's eyes seemed to darken, reflecting a profound sadness. "There is a darkness spreading across the galaxy, consuming worlds, enslaving species. My people fought, but we were not strong enough. We had heard legends of Earth, of humanity's potential. I came to warn you, to seek your aid." A chill ran down Samantha's spine. "Warn us? About what?" "The Void Imperium," Zara replied, the words carrying a weight of dread. "They are coming, and all life in the galaxy hangs in the balance." Samantha took a deep breath, trying to process the enormity of what she was hearing. Part of her wanted to dismiss it as the ravings of a traumatized refugee, but the conviction in Zara's voice, the advanced technology of the ship, it all pointed to a truth almost too big to comprehend. "Okay," she said finally. "Tell me everything." Over the next several hours, Zara recounted the fall of their homeworld, Lumina Prime, to the relentless onslaught of the Void Imperium. The Lumina, a peaceful race of scientists and artists, had been utterly unprepared for the brutality of the invasion. Zara, a junior diplomat, had been chosen to undertake a desperate mission, to seek out the legendary humans and plead for their help. As Zara spoke, various officials and scientists filtered in and out of the tent, listening with growing concern. Samantha found herself acting as an impromptu intermediary, translating Zara's mental speech and providing context where needed. "But why Earth?" one general asked gruffly. "We're not exactly a spacefaring civilization yet. What made you think we could help?" Zara's skin rippled with a pattern that Samantha was beginning to recognize as thoughtfulness. "Your species is young, yes, but possessed of remarkable potential. We have observed your rapid technological advancement, your adaptability, your indomitable spirit. There are stories, passed down through generations of spacefaring races, of humanity's capacity for both creation and destruction. I believed, that you might be the key to turning the tide against the Void Imperium." Samantha couldn't help but feel a swell of pride at Zara's words, tempered by the weight of responsibility they carried. "So what happens now?" she asked. Before Zara could respond, a commotion outside the tent drew everyone's attention. A group of men in dark suits entered, led by a stern-faced woman Samantha recognized from news broadcasts, the National Security Advisor. "Dr. Chen," the woman said crisply, "you and your guest are to come with us immediately. The President is convening an emergency session of the Security Council. It seems we have a lot to discuss." As they were ushered into waiting vehicles, Samantha felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. The world as she knew it had changed forever, and she was at the center of it all. She glanced at Zara, who seemed equally apprehensive. "Don't worry," Samantha said, reaching out to squeeze the alien's hand reassuringly. "We're in this together now." Zara's skin shimmered with a warm glow, and Samantha felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. As the convoy sped towards Washington, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of an adventure beyond her wildest dreams, and humanity's greatest challenge. The sun was setting over the Capitol as they arrived, casting long shadows across the iconic buildings. Samantha helped Zara out of the vehicle, noticing how the alien's iridescent skin seemed to absorb and reflect the fading light in mesmerizing patterns. They were quickly ushered into a secure underground facility, passing through multiple checkpoints and security scans. Samantha could feel the weight of history pressing down on her as they were led into a large, circular room dominated by a massive table. Around it sat the most powerful people in the country, military leaders, cabinet members, and at the head, the president herself. President Evelyn Reyes stood as they entered, her expression a carefully controlled mask of calm authority. Dr. Chen, thank you for coming. And to our guest, welcome to Earth. I understand we have much to discuss. As Samantha and Zara took their seats, the weight of the moment settled over the room. This wasn't just a meeting. It was the beginning of a new chapter in human history, one that would shape the destiny of not just Earth, but potentially the entire galaxy. The president leaned forward, her eyes fixed on Zara. Now, let's talk about this void imperium and what exactly humanity is up against. The weeks following Zara's arrival on Earth were a whirlwind of activity. After the initial shock and secrecy surrounding the aliens' presence, world leaders made the unanimous decision to go public with the information. The announcement sent shockwaves through every corner of the globe, sparking a range of reactions from jubilation to panic. Dr. Samantha Chen found herself thrust into the role of cultural attaché, bridging the gap between humanity and their extraterrestrial visitor. The United Nations hastily established a new department, the Office of Extraterrestrial Affairs, and Samantha was appointed as its chief scientific liaison. On a crisp autumn morning, Samantha led Zara through the bustling streets of New York City. The alien's appearance had been slightly altered with holographic technology to avoid causing a panic, but curious onlookers still stared at the strange, shimmering quality of Zara's skin. "I still cannot fathom the diversity of your world," Zara said, her mental voice filled with wonder as they passed people of all ethnicities and backgrounds. "On Lumina, we have achieved a level of biological homogeneity, but here the variations seem endless." Samantha smiled, seeing her hone through new eyes. Humanity's strength lies in its diversity. Different cultures, ideas, and perspectives all contributing to our collective knowledge and progress. They entered the newly christened Galactic Cultural Center, a repurposed museum now dedicated to fostering understanding between Earth and the stars. Inside, holographic displays showcased information about Lumina and other alien civilizations Zara had encountered in her travels. As they walked through the exhibits, a group of wide-eyed schoolchildren on a field trip approached. Their teacher, a kind-faced woman in her 50s, gave Samantha a nervous smile. "Dr. Chen," the children were wondering if they might ask Zara a few questions. "We've been studying extraterrestrial biology in class." Samantha glanced at Zara, who nodded enthusiastically. "Of course," the alien replied, kneeling down to be at eye level with the children. "What would you like to know?" A freckle-faced boy raised his hand. "How do you eat? Do you have a mouth like us?" Zara's skin rippled with amusement. "Not quite like yours. We absorb nutrients through our skin, much like your plants do with sunlight. But we do have a way to take in liquids." She demonstrated by touching a finger to a glass of water, the liquid seeming to vanish on contact. The children gasped in amazement, and soon Zara was fielding questions about Luminan art, music, and games. Samantha watched with a warm feeling in her chest, marveling at how quickly barriers could fall in the face of genuine curiosity and openness. As the day progressed, Samantha and Zara made their way to a high-tech laboratory on the outskirts of the city. Here, some of Earth's brightest minds were working alongside Zara to understand and adapt Luminan technology for human use. Dr. Raj Patel, a brilliant quantum physicist, greeted them at the entrance. "Ah, perfect timing. We've just had a breakthrough with the energy conversion matrix. Zara, could you take a look?" Inside the lab, holographic displays flickered with complex equations and 3D models of molecular structures. Zara moved gracefully between workstations, her mental voice a constant stream of explanations and suggestions that the human scientists eagerly absorbed. Samantha watched in awe as Zara manipulated a holographic representation of what looked like a miniature sun. "This is a scaled-down version of our primary energy source," Zara explained. "It harnesses the power of quantum fluctuations in vacuum energy, providing nearly limitless clean energy." Dr. Patel's eyes widened. "If we can successfully adapt this technology, it could solve Earth's energy crisis overnight. No more fossil fuels, no more nuclear waste, just clean, abundant power for everyone. As exciting as the energy breakthrough was, Samantha knew there were other, more pressing concerns. She gently steered the conversation towards defensive technologies. Zara, you mentioned that the Void Imperium might be coming. What kind of defenses did your people use? Zara's skin darkened slightly, a sign Samantha had come to recognize as sadness. Our defenses were primarily designed to deflect natural threats, asteroids, solar flares. We were unprepared for the level of aggression the Void Imperium displayed. However, the alien waved a hand, and the holographic display shifted to show a complex network of satellites. This is a planetary shield grid. With some modifications to account for Earth's specific needs, it could provide a formidable defense against both natural and artificial threats. The scientists in the room quickly gathered around, peppering Zara with questions about power requirements, materials needed, and potential weaknesses. Samantha felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe with this technology, Earth stood a chance against whatever was coming. As the day wound down, Samantha and Zara left the lab and made their way to a small park overlooking the city. The sun was setting, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and purples. They sat on a bench, watching as the city lights began to twinkle to life. "You've given us so much, Zara," Samantha said softly. "Knowledge, technology, hope. How can we ever repay you?" Zara's skin shimmered with a warm glow. "Your acceptance, your willingness to learn and adapt, that is payment enough. But Samantha, I fear I have not given you nearly enough. The Void Imperium, they are unlike anything your people have faced before." Samantha felt a chill run down her spine. "Tell me, we need to know what we're up against." Zara's mental voice grew somber. "They are a collective consciousness, driven by an insatiable hunger for energy and resources. They consume entire planets, absorbing the life force of all living things. Their technology is beyond even what my people had achieved, and they are relentless, Samantha. They do not tire, do not feel mercy, do not stop until everything in their path is absorbed into their collective." Samantha swallowed hard, trying to process the enormity of the threat. How do we fight something like that?" Zara turned to face her, those alien eyes filled with a mixture of fear and determination. "With everything you have, with the indomitable human spirit I have witnessed since arriving here, with innovation, with courage, and with the one thing the Void Imperium can never understand, individual will and the power of choice." As they sat there, the weight of the future pressing down on them, Samantha made a silent vow. Humanity would not go quietly into the night. They would stand, they would fight, and somehow, they would find a way to survive. The next morning, Samantha worked to urgent messages from the UN and various world leaders. Observations from deep space telescopes had detected anomalies at the edge of the solar system, signs that something massive was approaching. She rushed to the Galactic Cultural Center, finding Zara already there, surrounded by holographic displays of the solar system. The alien's skin was pulsing with rapid color changes, a sign of agitation. "They're here," Zara said simply as Samantha entered. "Sooner than I have hoped. We have perhaps a month before they reach Earth's orbit." Samantha felt her heart race. A month. 1 month to prepare for a threat beyond imagination. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. "Then we have work to do. Let's gather every brilliant mind on the planet. It's time for humanity to show what we're truly capable of." As news of the impending arrival spread, the world seemed to hold its collective breath. But in labs, factories, and makeshift assembly lines across the globe, a fever of activity took hold. Lunan designs were adapted, improved upon, and merged with human ingenuity. Satellite launches became a daily occurrence as the planetary shield grid took shape. Quantum energy plants sprouted up in deserts and tundras, providing the massive power needed for the new defenses. And in hidden bunkers, a new generation of weapons was being forged, hybrids of Earth's most advanced military tech and Luminan science. Samantha worked tirelessly, coordinating efforts between scientists, engineers, and military strategists. She watched with pride as humanity set aside its differences, united in the face of an existential threat. One evening, as she and Zara observed the first successful test of a full-scale planetary shield, Samantha felt a glimmer of hope. "You know," she said, turning to her alien friend, "I think we might just have a chance." Zara's skin shimmered with what Samantha had come to recognize as a smile. "In all my travels, I have never encountered a species quite like yours, Samantha. Your adaptability, your creativity in the face of challenges, it is truly remarkable. If any race can stand against the Void Imperium, I believe it is humanity." As the shield shimmered into existence high above the Earth, bathing the planet in a soft, protective glow, Samantha allowed herself a moment of optimism. Whatever was coming, they would face it together, humanity and their newfound alien allies, standing as one against the darkness threatening to engulf them all. But even as hope bloomed, a nagging doubt lingered in the back of Samantha's mind. Would it be enough? As the days ticked by and the Void Imperium drew ever closer, she couldn't shake the feeling that their greatest challenges still lay ahead. As the days ticked by, the initial unity that had gripped the world in the face of extraterrestrial threat began to show signs of strain. Reports of the Void Imperium's approach dominated every news channel, and conspiracy theories ran rampant across social media platforms. Despite the incredible technological advancements being made, fear and uncertainty began to take root in the hearts of many. Dr. Samantha Chen found herself at the center of a growing storm. As the public face of Earth's preparations, she was constantly shuttling between press conferences, government briefings, and oversight of the various defense projects. The pressure was immense, and she could feel the weight of billions of lives on her shoulders. One particularly tense morning, Samantha arrived at the UN headquarters in New York for an Emergency Security Council meeting. As she walked through the corridors, she could hear heated arguments echoing from various rooms. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Inside the main chamber, representatives from major world powers were engaged in a fierce debate. Samantha took her seat next to Zara, who seemed unusually quiet, her iridescent skin pulsing with muted colors. The United States cannot be expected to bear the brunt of this alien threat alone, the US ambassador was saying, his voice sharp with frustration. "We've contributed the majority of resources to the planetary shield and new weapons systems. It's time for other nations to step up." The Chinese representative stood, her expression stern. "Perhaps if the US had been more forthcoming with the alien technology in the first place, we would all be better prepared. We demand full access to all Luminon data and designs." Accusations flew back and forth, with various nations demanding more resources, more information, or more control over the global defense strategy. Samantha watched with growing dismay as the very unity they needed to face the coming threat seemed to be crumbling before her eyes. Finally, she could take no more. Standing abruptly, Samantha addressed the council, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Distinguished representatives, please. While we argue amongst ourselves, the Void Imperium draws ever closer. We cannot afford this division. The threat we face does not recognize borders or nationalities. Either we stand together, or we fall together." Her words seemed to have an impact as the room fell into a chastened silence. But then, a new voice spoke up, one that sent a chill down Samantha's spine. "Dr. Chen speaks of unity," said General Marcus Blackwood, a hardline military leader who had been pushing for more aggressive tactics. "But how can we be united when we know so little about the very alien who brought this threat to our doorstep?" All eyes turned to Zara, who seemed to shrink under the sudden scrutiny. Blackwood continued, his voice dripping with suspicion. "We've accepted this Lunan story without question, but what proof do we have? For all we know, this could be an elaborate ruse, softening us up for invasion." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Samantha felt a surge of protective anger. "General Blackwood, that's absurd. Zara has done nothing but help us since arriving. The technology shared with us is real and has already transformed our world for the better. Blackwood's eyes narrowed. Perhaps it's all an illusion, designed to lull us into a false sense of security. I move that we detain the alien for further questioning and analysis. We need to be certain of what we're dealing with. The room erupted into chaos once more, with various factions arguing for and against Blackwood's proposal. Samantha turned to Zara, expecting to see outrage or fear. Instead, she was shocked to see a look of resigned sadness on the alien's face. "Zara?" Samantha whispered. "What's wrong? You can't possibly believe what Blackwood is saying." Zara's mental voice was heavy with emotion. "No, Samantha, I have not lied about the threat we face. But there are things I haven't told you. Things about my past, about the true nature of the Void Imperium. Perhaps it is time for the full truth to come to light." Before Samantha could respond, security personnel were approaching their seats. The council had voted, and the decision had been made. Zara was to be taken into protective custody for further questioning. As Zara was led away, Samantha felt as though the floor had dropped out from under her. What hadn't Zara told them? And more importantly, would this division doom their efforts to defend Earth? The next few days were a blur of interrogations, tests, and heated debates. Zara was held in a secure facility, subjected to a battery of scans and questions. Samantha fought tooth and nail to be present for these sessions, arguing that her understanding of Luminan biology and culture was crucial. During one particularly grueling session, General Blackwood paced around Zara, his voice cold and accusatory. "You claim to be a refugee, the last of your kind, but our deep space scans have detected no evidence of the destruction you described. Explain." Zara's skin rippled with a pattern Samantha had never seen before. Was it shame? The destruction of Lumina Prime was not as I described it, Zara admitted, her mental voice barely above a whisper. Samantha felt her heart drop. "Zara, what are you saying?" The alien's large eyes met Samantha's, filled with a profound sadness. "Lumina Prime still exists, but it is no longer the world I knew. The Void Imperium did not destroy it. They transformed it. My people, they were not all killed. Many were absorbed into the collective consciousness of the Imperium." A cold silence fell over the room. Blackwood's expression was triumphant, but Samantha could only feel a growing sense of horror. "Why?" she asked, her voice cracking. "Why didn't you tell us the whole truth?" Zara's form seemed to slump, the usual vibrancy of her skin dulled. "Because I was ashamed. Because I fled while others were assimilated. And because I feared that if you knew the full nature of the Void Imperium, you would lose hope. They do not merely destroy, Samantha. They consume, they adapt, and in doing so, they gain the knowledge and abilities of those they absorb." General Blackwood slammed his hand on the table. "So the technology you've given us, it could all be part of their plan. A Trojan horse to weaken our defenses." "No." Zara's mental voice was suddenly strong, resonating with conviction. "The technology is genuine. It is our best hope against them. But you must understand, the Void Imperium is not just an external threat. It is a corruption, a plague that can infect minds and twist them to its purpose." Samantha's mind raced, trying to process this new information. "Are you saying some of us could be compromised without knowing it?" Zara nodded solemnly. "It is possible. The Void Imperium sends out tendrils of its consciousness, seeking receptive minds. Those who crave power, who fear death or insignificance, they are most vulnerable." The implications were staggering. Samantha looked around the room, suddenly wondering if she could trust anyone. Even Blackwood's paranoia took on a new, terrifying context. Could his suspicion be a sign of infection, or just a natural human reaction to fear? "We need to tell the council," Samantha said, her voice shaky but determined. "The world leaders need to know what we're truly up against." Blackwood scoffed. "And cause a global panic. Destroy what little trust and cooperation we've managed to build. If we don't," Samantha countered, "we're fighting blind. Humanity deserves to know the full truth of what we're facing. As they argued, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. A frantic aide burst into the room, his face pale. "General, Dr. Chen, you need to see this." They rushed to the command center, where wall-to-wall screens displayed a chilling sight. The outer planets of the solar system, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, was simply gone. In their place was a roiling mass of darkness, punctuated by flashes of sickly green energy. "Dear God," Blackwood whispered, "they're here." Zora's mental voice was filled with dread. "No, they've been here for some time. What you see is not their arrival, but the completion of their consumption of the gas giants. They've been feeding, growing stronger." Samantha felt a wave of nausea wash over her. How long do we have?" Zora's answer chilled her to the bone. "Days, perhaps hours. The Void Imperium is not bound by the laws of physics as you understand them. They could be upon us at any moment." As if in response to Zara's words, the screens flickered, and a new image appeared. It was Earth seen from orbit, and spreading across its surface like a cancer were tendrils of the same darkness they had seen consuming the outer planets. Samantha turned to Zara, her eyes wide with fear and determination. "Tell us everything, Zara. Every weakness, every strategy you know. It's time for humanity to make its stand." As Zara began to speak, pouring out every scrap of knowledge about the Void Imperium, Samantha felt a strange mix of terror and exhilaration. The greatest fight in human history was about to begin, and the fate of not just Earth, but perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. Outside, as darkness fell over New York City, the stars began to vanish one by one, obscured by an encroaching void that promised only oblivion. But in the hearts of those preparing to fight, a different kind of darkness took hold, a grim determination to rage against the dying of the light, no matter the cost. The next 48 hours were a blur of frantic activity as humanity prepared for what might be its final stand. With the truth about the Void Imperium now known, world leaders made the difficult decision to inform the public. Panic was inevitable, but so too was a surge of unity and determination unlike anything the world had ever seen. Dr. Samantha Chen found herself at the heart of Earth's defense efforts, working tirelessly alongside military strategists, scientists, and now vindicated Zara to prepare for the coming onslaught. The aliens' knowledge, combined with humanity's ingenuity and newfound desperation, led to breakthroughs that would have seemed impossible just days before. In a repurposed aircraft hangar outside of Washington, D.C., Samantha stood before a gathering of the world's top minds. The room hummed with nervous energy as holographic displays flickered with real-time data on the Void Imperium's advance. "Ladies and gentlemen," Samantha began, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her insides, "what we're about to attempt has never been done before. Thanks to Zara's insights and our own advancements, we believe we have a fighting chance. But make no mistake, this will be the hardest fight of our lives." She gestured to a large holographic representation of Earth, surrounded by a shimmering barrier. "The planetary shield is our first line of defense. We've modified it based on what we now know about the Void Imperium's phase-shifting abilities. It should, in theory, prevent them from simply teleporting onto the planet's surface." General Blackwood, who had become an unlikely ally in the face of this overwhelming threat, stepped forward. "But we can't rely on defense alone. That's why we've developed these." With a wave of his hand, the hologram changed to show sleek, angular spacecraft unlike anything seen outside of science fiction. The Excalibur-class fighters. Quantum-powered, armed with weapons that can disrupt the Void Imperium's energy matrix. They're our best shot at taking the fight to the enemy. A murmur of excitement rippled through the crowd. Dr. Raj Patel, who had been instrumental in adapting Luminan technology, raised his hand. "What about the Nexus Protocol? Is it ready?" Samantha exchanged a glance with Zara before answering. "The Nexus Protocol is operational, but untested. It's our last resort." The Nexus Protocol was perhaps the most audacious plan ever conceived by human minds. Using a combination of Luminon, consciousness-transferring technology, and Earth's most advanced AI systems, it would create a unified mental network of Earth's greatest minds. In theory, it could match the Void Imperium's hive mind, allowing humanity to outthink and outmaneuver the enemy. But the risks were enormous. Those who joined the Nexus might never be able to return to their individual consciousness. It was a sacrifice that would only be considered if all else failed. As the meeting concluded and the various teams dispersed to their stations, Samantha felt a gentle touch on her arm. She turned to see Zara, the alien's skin pulsing with a mix of colors that Samantha had learned to interpret as anxiety and hope. "Samantha," Zara's mental voice was soft, "I need to speak with you privately." They made their way to a quiet corner of the hangar. Zara seemed to be struggling to find the right words, which was unusual for the typically eloquent alien. "What is it, Zara?" Samantha prompted gently. I haven't been entirely truthful about my capabilities," Zara finally admitted. "There's something I can do, something that might give us an edge against the Void Imperium, but it comes at a great cost." Samantha felt a mix of confusion and concern. "What do you mean? What can you do?" Zara's form seemed to shimmer, becoming less solid for a moment. "My people, the Lumina, were not just empaths. In times of great need, we can merge our consciousness with others, not like the Void Imperium's forced assimilation, but a willing union. It amplifies our abilities, our intelligence. It could be the key to coordinating our defenses effectively." Samantha's eyes widened as she grasped the implications. "You're talking about a biological version of the Nexus Protocol. Zara, that's incredible. Why didn't you tell us sooner?" The alien's skin darkened with what Samantha now recognized as shame. Because once merged, there's no going back. The individuals, they cease to exist as separate entities. It's why my people use this ability so rarely and only in the most dire circumstances. A heavy silence fell between them. Samantha's mind raced with the possibilities and the ethical implications. "Zara, I don't know what to say. This could be the edge we need, but the cost." Their conversation was interrupted by a piercing alarm. Red lights flashed throughout the hangar as a voice boomed over the speakers. "This is not a drill. Void Imperium forces have breached the outer solar system. All personnel to battle stations. Repeat, this is not a drill." Samantha and Zara locked eyes, a wordless understanding passing between them. Whatever decisions needed to be made, they would have to be made quickly. The final battle for Earth was about to begin. As they rushed back to the command center, chaos erupted around them. Military personnel scrambled to their posts, scientists hurried to make last-minute adjustments to their equipment, and the sound of jet engines roared as the first squadrons of Excalibur fighters took to the skies. Inside the command center, wall-to-wall screens displayed a terrifying sight. The darkness that had consumed the outer planets was now rapidly approaching Earth, tendrils of void reaching out like grasping fingers. The planetary shield flickered to life, a shimmering dome of energy encompassing the entire planet. General Blackwood's voice cut through the tension. "All Excalibur squadrons, engage at will. Concentrate fire on the leading edge of the Void Imperium's advance. Ground-based ion cannons, prepare to fire on my mark." Samantha watched in awe as humanity's last line of defense sprang into action. The Excalibur fighters, looking like mere pinpricks of light against the encroaching darkness, unleashed a barrage of energy weapons. Where their beams struck, the void seemed to recoil, holes appearing in its seemingly impenetrable surface. But for every blow struck against the Void Imperium, the enemy seemed to adapt. Tendrils of darkness lashed out, enveloping fighters and dissolving them into nothingness. The planetary shield trembled under repeated impacts, sections flickering dangerously. "Shield integrity at 78% and dropping," a technician called out. "At this rate, we'll have total failure in less than an hour." Samantha felt a cold dread settle in her stomach. She turned to Zara, who was intently studying the tactical displays. "It's not enough, is it?" she asked, already knowing the answer. Zara's mental voice was grim. "They're stronger than I anticipated. The consumption of your gas giants has given them far more power than we calculated. Samantha, I fear we have no choice. We must use my ability and the Nexus protocol." The weight of the decision pressed down on Samantha. To use Zara's merging ability or the Nexus protocol meant asking people to sacrifice their individual existence for the greater good. But as she looked at the screens, at the reports of casualties mounting and defenses failing, she knew there was no other option. "General Blackwood," she called out, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside her. "Initiate the Nexus protocol, and we have one more asset to deploy." As Blackwood gave the order and volunteers began connecting themselves to the Nexus systems, Samantha turned to Zara. "I'll do it," she said softly. "Merge with me. Between your knowledge and my understanding of Earth's defenses, we might stand a chance." Zara's skin rippled with a complex pattern of emotions: gratitude, sorrow, determination. "Samantha, you must understand. This isn't like the Nexus protocol. There's no coming back from this. You'll cease to exist as you are now." Samantha managed a small smile. "I know, but if it gives Earth a fighting chance, it's worth it. Just promise me one thing. Whatever we become, whatever happens, we use this power to protect Earth, to give humanity a future." Zara reached out, her shimmering hand gently touching Samantha's face. "I promise." As the chaos of battle raged around them, Samantha and Zara began the merging process. It was unlike anything Samantha had ever experienced, a rush of memories, knowledge, and sensations flooding her consciousness. She felt herself expanding, her awareness stretching to encompass not just the command center, but the entire battlefield. In that moment, as Samantha Chen ceased to exist and a new hybrid consciousness took her place, the tide of battle began to turn. The merged being that was once Samantha and Zara coordinated with the Nexus, guiding Earth's defenses with unprecedented efficiency and foresight. Excalibur squadrons moved in perfect harmony, striking at the Void Imperium's weakest points. The planetary shield, bolstered by the merged consciousness's understanding of both Luminan and Earth technology, held firm against the onslaught. For the first time since the battle began, hope flickered to life in the hearts of Earth's defenders. But the Void Imperium was far from defeated, and the greatest challenges still lay ahead. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance, with humanity's indomitable spirit and newfound unity its last, best hope for survival. The merged consciousness that was once Samantha Chen and Zara floated in a sea of information, aware of every aspect of the battle raging around Earth. Through their connection to the Nexus protocol, they could feel the determination and fear of every human linked to the network, from pilots in the Excalibur fighters to scientists monitoring the planetary shield. But they could also sense something else, a vast alien presence pushing against the edges of their awareness. The Void Imperium's hive mind was probing, searching for weaknesses, its hunger an almost palpable force. We cannot match them for raw power, the merge being thought, its mental voice a harmonious blend of Samantha's determination and Zara's alien wisdom. But we have something they don't understand, individuality within unity. Through the Nexus, they sent out a call to all of humanity: stand firm, embrace your uniqueness, your individual thoughts, your emotions, your dreams. These are our strength against the void. Across the planet, humans felt a surge of resolve. In the skies above Earth, Excalibur pilots pushed their ships to the limit, each finding their own unique way to combat the encroaching darkness. Captain Amelia Rodriguez, leading Falcon Squadron, noticed a pattern in the Void Imperium's attacks. "They're targeting our communication relays," she realized. "Falcon Squadron, new formation. We're going to use the debris field to our advantage." Her squad wove through the wreckage of destroyed satellites and space stations, using the cover to launch surprise attacks on the tendrils of void reaching for Earth's comms network. Each pilot's individual style, from daring acrobatics to precision marksmanship, combined to create a defense the Void Imperium struggled to counter. On the ground, Dr. Raj Patel had an epiphany. The Void isn't just consuming matter, he announced through the Nexus. It's consuming information, but information can be weaponized. Working with a team of programmers and quantum physicists, Raj began crafting a virus, not a traditional computer virus, but a piece of code designed to introduce chaos into the Void Imperium's hive mind. It was a long shot, based on theories of quantum entanglement and information theory, but it was a chance they had to take. As the battle raged on, the merged consciousness of Samantha and Zara coordinated these efforts, weaving together the strands of human ingenuity into a tapestry of resistance. But the Void Imperium was relentless, adapting to each new tactic with terrifying speed. Suddenly, a new threat emerged. The Void began to coalesce into distinct shapes, monstrous, writhing forms that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Through the Nexus, the merged consciousness recognized them with a jolt of horror. They're creating avatars, they warned. Physical manifestations drawn from the absorbed minds of countless civilizations. Prepare for ground assault. Around the globe, as if emerging from shadows themselves, the avatars of the Void Imperium appeared. In New York, a creature with too many limbs and eyes crawled up the side of skyscrapers. In Beijing, a swarm of metallic insects descended upon the city, their touch corroding everything they encountered. In Cairo, a colossus of living darkness strode through the streets, each step leaving reality itself warped in its wake. Humanity's ground forces, armed with weapons hastily adapted from Luminon technology, engaged these nightmarish entities. But conventional tactics proved futile against foes that could shift their form at will and ignore the basic laws of nature. Through the Nexus, the merged consciousness searched desperately for a solution. They delved into the combined knowledge of humanity and the Lumina, seeking any weakness they could exploit. There, they finally realized. The avatars are projections, anchored to our reality through quantum entanglement. If we can disrupt that connection, they fed the information to Earth's defenders, guiding them to target specific points on each avatar, nexus points, where the connection to the Void Imperium's home dimension was strongest. It wasn't an easy task, requiring precise coordination between ground troops, aerial support, and the global network of adapted Luminon technology. In London, as Big Ben struck midnight, a team of Royal Marines faced off against a creature that seemed to be made of living shadow and stars. Following the guidance from the merged consciousness, they used specially tuned energy weapons to target the points where the darkness was deepest. "Steady, lads," their sergeant called out, his voice calm despite the eldritch horror before them. "Wait for the chime." As Big Ben's final toll faded, they fired as one. The creature writhed, its form destabilizing, before imploding with a sound that seemed to come from beyond the edge of sanity. Similar scenes played out across the globe. In Rio de Janeiro, a young hacker used repurposed satellite dishes to disrupt the quantum field around an entity that had been decimating the city's favelas. In Tokyo, a team of scientists and Shinto priests combined cutting-edge technology with ancient rituals to banish a being that defied description. But for every victory on the ground, the battle in space grew more desperate. The planetary shield was failing, sections flickering out as the full might of the Void Imperium pressed against it. Excalibur squadrons were being picked off one by one, unable to stem the tide of darkness. In orbit, aboard the hastily constructed space station that served as humanity's last line of defense, General Blackwood received a transmission from the merged consciousness. "The shield is going to fail," they informed him, their mental voice heavy with the weight of billions of lives. "We need to try something drastic." Blackwood, his face lined with exhaustion and grim determination, nodded. "The Luminon Sunforge, but we haven't tested it. We don't know if it will work, or what the consequences might be." The Sunforge was a massive orbital array, built using the most advanced luminant technology combined with human innovations. In theory, it could harness the power of Earth's sun, focusing it into a beam capable of disrupting the very fabric of space-time. But using it was a gamble, one that could potentially destroy Earth as thoroughly as the Void Imperium. "We're out of options," the merged consciousness replied. "Humanity would rather go down fighting than be consumed by the Void. Initiate the Sunforge." Blackwood took a deep breath, then gave the order. Across the planet and in orbit, power systems diverted every available joule of energy to the Sunforge. The massive array began to glow, solar panels unfurling like the petals of an enormous mechanical flower. As the Void Imperium pressed its final assault, tendrils of darkness reaching through the failing shield, the Sunforge unleashed its power. A beam of pure, focused solar energy lanced out, cutting through the void like a blade of light through shadow. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. Where the beam struck, the fabric of space itself seemed to tear. The void recoiled, its avatars on the ground below disintegrating as their connection to their home dimension was severed. But the destruction wasn't limited to the Void Imperium. The beam's power was beyond anything Earth's scientists had anticipated. Tectonic plates shifted, oceans roiled, and the very air seemed to ignite. Through the nexus, the merged consciousness of Samantha and Zara felt the pain of the planet and its people. They knew that even if they defeated the Void Imperium, the cost might be the very world they were trying to save. In that moment of crisis, they made a decision. Drawing upon the full power of the Nexus and their own merged abilities, they reached out not just to every human mind on the planet, but to the Earth itself. They became a conduit, channeling the raw energy of the Sunforge, directing it with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel. Across the globe, humans felt a strange sensation, as if they were somehow connected not just to each other, but to the planet beneath their feet. Through this connection, guided by the merged consciousness, they began to heal the wounds inflicted by the battle. In the skies above, the last remnants of the Void Imperium writhed in agony as the focused power of humanity and their world drove them back. Slowly, painfully, the darkness receded, pushed beyond the bounds of the solar system. As the glow of the Sunforge faded and the planetary shield finally failed, an eerie silence fell over the Earth. The void was gone, driven back by the combined might of human determination, luminant technology, and the raw power of a living world. But the cost had been enormous. Cities lay in ruins, millions were dead or missing, and the very geography of the planet had been altered by the cataclysmic energies unleashed in the final moments of the battle. In orbit, aboard the defense station, General Blackwood slumped in his chair, exhaustion and disbelief warring on his face. Did we win? The merged consciousness of Samantha and Zara, their voice coming through the station's speakers, replied with a mixture of relief and sorrow. We survived. The Void Imperium has been driven back, but the fight isn't over. It will return, and we must be ready. As the sun rose over a changed Earth, humanity faced a new challenge, rebuilding their world and preparing for the battles yet to come. But they would face its future united, forever altered by their brush with cosmic horror and their own untapped potential. The merged being that was once Samantha and Zara looked out at the scared but unbroken planet below, feeling the pulse of billions of lives, each unique yet now interconnected in ways they were only beginning to understand. And so, they thought, a new chapter begins. The days following humanity's desperate stand against the Void Imperium were filled with a mixture of jubilation, grief, and uncertainty. As the dust settled and the true extent of the damage became clear, the people of Earth faced the monumental task of rebuilding their world while preparing for a future that now seemed more uncertain than ever. The merged consciousness that had once been Dr. Samantha Chen and Zara found itself at the center of this new world order. Connected to the Nexus, and through it, to the very essence of Earth itself, the hybrid being grappled with its newfound power and responsibility. In the halls of the United Nations, now temporarily relocated to a fortified bunker beneath the Swiss Alps, world leaders gathered to chart a course for humanity's future. The merged consciousness addressed them, its voice resonating not just through speakers, but directly in the minds of all present. "We stand at a crossroads," it began, the dual nature of its existence evident in the harmonious blend of human and alien tones. "The Void Imperium has been driven back, but not defeated. We have won a battle, but the war for our existence is far from over." Images flickered to life on the screens surrounding the chamber, showing the devastation wrought by the conflict. Cities lay in ruins, coastlines had been reshaped by the unleashed energies of the Sunforge, and strange, reality-warped zones dotted the globe where the boundaries between dimensions had been stretched thin. But in our darkest hour, we discovered strengths we never knew we possessed, the merged being continued. The Nexus Protocol has given us a glimpse of what we can achieve when we work as one. The challenge now is to move forward without losing the individuality that makes us human. President Evelyn Reyes of the United States stood, her face etched with the fatigue of sleepless nights, but her eyes bright with determination. "We owe you, both of you, a debt we can never repay. But I have to ask, what happens now? To you? To the Nexus? To our world?" The merged consciousness was silent for a moment, and those connected to the Nexus could feel the internal debate, the struggle between human emotion and alien logic. "We cannot go back to who we were," it finally replied. "Samantha Chen and Zara no longer exist as separate entities, but we can serve as a bridge between humanity and the cosmos, between your past and your future." Over the next several hours, a plan began to take shape. The Nexus Protocol would be maintained, but evolved. Instead of a constant connection, it would become a global information and coordination network that individuals could access at will. This will allow humanity to retain the benefits of their newfound unity without sacrificing personal freedom and privacy. The merged being would serve as a guardian and guide, using its unique perspective to help steer humanity through the challenges ahead. But it would not rule, that responsibility would remain with elected human leaders. As for the immediate future, 3 main priorities were established. Rebuild and heal the planet, using the combined knowledge of human and Luminan technology. Advance Earth's defensive and space exploration capabilities to prepare for future threats and opportunities. Establish a new global education system to help humanity adapt to their new reality as a spacefaring civilization. As the meeting concluded, Dr. Raj Patel approached the holographic projection of the merged consciousness, his eyes shining with a mixture of scientific curiosity and concern for his former colleague. "Sir, what should we call you now?" he asked hesitantly. The being's form shimmered, its appearance settling into a blend of Samantha's human features and Zora's alien characteristics. "We are both, yet neither," it replied. "Perhaps Zara-san, but our name is less important than our purpose." Reg nodded, then pressed on. "The quantum virus we developed, the one designed to introduce chaos into the Void Imperium's hive mind. Did it work? Could it be key to defeating them if they return?" Zara-san's expression became thoughtful. "It had an effect, yes. We felt their confusion, their pain. But the Void Imperium is vast, beyond our current understanding. The virus was like throwing a pebble into an ocean. It created ripples, but the ocean remains. However, your insight is correct. This could be a vital avenue of research as we prepare our defenses." Over the following months, the world slowly began to rebuild. The Nexus, guided by Zara-san, coordinated global efforts with unprecedented efficiency. Ruined cities were reconstructed using advanced materials that could withstand future conflicts. Agricultural techniques were revolutionized to address food shortages caused by climate shifts from the battle. Perhaps most dramatically, the scars left by the Void Imperium's assault, areas where the fabric of reality had been warped, were transformed into sites of scientific wonder. Research stations were established to study these quantum anomalies, leading to breakthroughs in physics and opening up new possibilities for energy production and space travel. 1 year after the battle, humanity launched its first true interstellar vessel, the HSS Unity, a sleek ship powered by a hybrid of human and Luminan technology, embarked on a mission to establish an early warning system at the edge of the solar system. As it broke free of Earth's orbit, cheers erupted in mission control centers around the globe. Captain Amelia Rodriguez, one of the heroes of the battle for Earth, stood on the bridge of the Unity, her heart racing with excitement and trepidation. Through the Nexus, she felt a gentle touch on her mind, Zara-Sam, offering encouragement and guidance. Remember, the merge being communicated, you carry with you the hopes and dreams of all humanity. But you also carry our strength, our resilience, and our unwavering spirit. The cosmos awaits. As the Unity engaged its faster-than-light drive, disappearing in a flash of quantum energy, humanity collectively held its breath. It was one small step for a ship, but a giant leap for their civilization. Back on Earth, in a secluded mountain laboratory, Dr. Raj Patel and his team worked tirelessly on Project Firewall, an ambitious attempt to create a defensive network that could detect and repel incursions from other dimensions. The project combined the most advanced human AI systems with Luminan consciousness transfer technology and the insights gained from studying the quantum anomalies. "We're close to a breakthrough," Raj reported to Zara-Sam during one of their regular consultations. "If this works, we'll be able to create a shield that doesn't just protect Earth, but actively adapts to new threats." Zara-Sam's holographic form nodded approvingly. "Excellent work, Raj. But remember, technology alone will not save us. It's the human spirit behind the technology that makes the difference." This philosophy became the cornerstone of the new global education system. Schools around the world implemented curricula that balanced scientific advancement with ethical considerations and cultural understanding. Children learned not just about the vastness of the cosmos, but about the responsibility that came with humanity's new place in it. Yet, despite the rapid advancements and the growing sense of global unity, challenges remained. Some factions, fearful of change, called for a return to old ways of thinking and governing. Others sought to exploit the new technologies for personal gain or power. Zara-Sam and the world's leaders grappled with these issues, striving to find a balance between progress and stability, unity and diversity. It was a constant struggle, but one that ultimately made humanity stronger and more resilient. 3 years after the battle for Earth, as the planet continued its journey of recovery and advancement, a signal was detected by the deep space monitoring stations. It was faint, barely distinguishable from the cosmic background radiation, but its pattern was unmistakably artificial. The message, once decoded, was simple yet profound. "You are not alone. We have witnessed your stand against the darkness. If you are willing, we would meet." As news of the message spread, humanity faced a new crossroads. The prospect of peaceful contact with another advanced civilization was thrilling, but the memory of the Void Imperium loomed large. Could they trust this unknown race? Was Earth ready to take its place in a larger galactic community? Through the Nexus, Zara-Sam felt the swirling emotions of billions: hope, fear, excitement, apprehension. The merge being realized that this moment, perhaps even more than the battle against the Void Imperium, would define humanity's future. In a globally broadcast address, Zara-Sam spoke to the people of Earth. Its form shimmered, displaying aspects of countless human cultures blended with alien grace, a visual representation of humanity's evolution. "People of Earth," it began, its voice echoing in minds and through speakers around the world. "We have faced the darkness and emerged stronger. We have looked into the void and found a light within ourselves. Now, we stand on the threshold of a new chapter in our existence." Images flashed across screens: the battle for Earth, the reconstruction efforts, the launch of the Unity, children learning in new schools that bridged cultures and disciplines. "The road ahead is uncertain," Zara-Sam continued. "There will be challenges we cannot foresee, dangers we are not yet prepared for, but we will face them as we have faced every trial in our history, with courage, with innovation, and with the unbreakable spirit that defines humanity. The merge being paused, allowing the weight of the moment to settle. The decision to answer this call, to step onto the galactic stage, is not one I can make for you. It must be a choice made by all of humanity. But know this, whatever you decide, whatever the future holds, you do not face it alone. We are one people, one planet, united in our diversity and strengthened by our bonds. As Zara Sam's address concluded, a wave of discussion swept across the globe. Through the Nexus, in homes and public squares, in virtual forums and ancient meeting places, humanity debated its future. It was a moment of true global democracy, a civilization deciding its fate as one. Days later, the decision was made. Earth would answer the call. As humanity prepared to take its first steps into a larger universe, Zara Sam looked out at the planet it had sworn to protect. So much had changed, yet the core of what made humans unique remained. Their curiosity, their adaptability, their capacity for both great darkness and incredible light. These were the qualities that had allowed them to survive the Void Imperium. And these were the qualities that would guide them in the adventures to come. The merged consciousness that was once Samantha Chen and Zara, now a symbol of the bridge between humanity's past and its future, felt a surge of emotion that defied easy categorization. It was pride, hope, love, and a touch of bittersweet sadness for the individuals they had once been. As Earth's first official transmission to their new galactic neighbors was sent, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of an entire world, Zara Sam whispered words that echoed in the hearts of all humanity. The universe awaits. Let's show them what we're made of. And with that, a new chapter in human history began, one that would take them beyond the stars, facing challenges and wonders they had yet to imagine, but always carrying with them the indomitable spirit that had seen them through their darkest hour. The end.